Alright guys, what is up? It's Mark Munches, and today we have some homemade spaghetti and meatballs. I've never done this on my channel before, so I felt like doing it, and it's getting kind of late and I was just gonna have regular dinner, and I was just like, let me just get a video out because I didn't do a video today. I was just kind of busy, mostly. Yesterday was my son's birthday, and I stayed up way late, like till almost like 4 a.m. just setting up the house so he'll be surprised when he wakes up in the morning. And then I didn't really catch up on sleep since then. Yesterday I was working on stuff late at night. A lot of times I edit my videos at nighttime and it goes into 1 a.m., 2 a.m. So I have to get out of that habit. I'm probably gonna do that again because it's already like almost 7 or 8 p.m. and here I am recording, so it's probably gonna happen again tonight. But I'm gonna do my best to try to edit earlier. But enough of rambling. I'm gonna pray and we'll get straight into this. I'm gonna just warn you guys from now, this video is not gonna be as like cheery and stuff. The other day my wife did a video on and she was talking about anxiety and depression and things that she's had to deal with, and a lot of people were really resonating with that, and I do think that is an important message to talk about mental health issues. And I also have gone through mental health struggles in my life, so this is just gonna be a bit of a story time of things that I've faced and dealt with, and hopefully you guys hear these stories and it encourages you, because now I am not in any of that anymore, and it's just to let you guys know that no matter what you're facing, you will be able to get through it, and one day things will be better. So for any of you facing any hardships right now, just know that there is always going to be a way out, and you will eventually, even though it's hard now, you'll become better for what you face. So I'm going to pray and we'll get straight into this. Lord, I'm thankful for this meal. Thank you for everything you're doing in my life. I pray you continue to watch over me, my viewers, my family, and just continue to guide us and always be there for us, Lord. Amen. Hope you guys are having a great day. I had a really good day. I was just more of a laid back. So we're gonna get straight into this. Let me try this first. It's been so long since I've had spaghetti and meatballs, but yeah. Yeah, that's really good. So today's story time, I don't even remember exactly when this happened, but it was a long time ago. I was already in my 20s, I believe. So I was already in my 20s, and I was living on a farm, actually, which you guys probably did not know this, but I used to work on a farm and just do like regular farm work, raising chickens and stuff like that. So I was working at a car place that was built, and we had to build cars and stuff, and one day when I was driving to work, we got into a car accident, and I had a few injuries from that, and I also was in another accident coming home from church one day. Someone rear-ended our car, and so I was going to physiotherapy for these things. And then one day, for those of you who don't know, I was born in Canada, but I lived in New York for a lot of my life. So my mom, she still lives in New York, and I was gonna go visit her one day. I was still doing physio and stuff, but I was gonna take a few, I think I was even only there for like 2 weeks or even less, something like that. But I was gonna go visit her for like 2 weeks. I hadn't seen her in a while, so me and my sister and her husband and her kids, we get on a bus and we're headed on our way down to New York. And this isn't the first time I've done this. My mom, because she lives in New York, I used to go, I don't anymore, but I used to visit all the time and just go down there like at least once a year, I would say. So even before I visited her, I've been on those buses. Like, if you ever seen those tour buses, like Mega Bus and stuff like that, there's a lot of times where trips are like ran with those. Like sometimes people even make like a Vegas trip, and a bunch of people will get on the bus and like drive to Vegas, and everyone to hang out in Vegas and then drive back. And it kind of is like cheaper that way to do it, because this was before Mega Bus existed. So it was a bit steep of a price to go and do this. But if you were able to get a bunch of people to all be willing to go at the same time, then it would be cheaper. So there was a church, and I didn't go to this church, but my family knew people in this church. So they were holding a bus trip going to New York. So if I hopped on this bus, then it would be cheaper for me. So I got into the bus because of that. So we're taking the bus. Everything's like normal. We always do it all the time. We get to the border. For some reason, I don't know why, borders always just make me nervous. Not because I'm doing anything illegal or anything, but just in general, there's police everywhere. And they're always trying to search your bags and all sorts of stuff. And even if you don't have anything, it's just an awkward situation. It's not something I deal with normal, and I'm a bit socially awkward, so it just always makes me feel uncomfortable. So we get to the border. They do the border stuff. We get the A-OK. I hop back on the bus. We're driving, and it's really late because we left at nighttime, and I think it's like probably like 4 a.m. or something. They're playing movies, like if you ever saw like on like planes and stuff, how they have like the little TVs at the top, and you could just like look up and see the movies. They're playing like movies through that. I think they're playing like Medea or something. And some people are singing like church hymns because it's a church bus. And I was just really tired, so I kept falling asleep. But there was an older lady beside me, and all the time, like, she just keeps getting up to go back and forth, and I'm on the edge, so she has to keep asking me to pass, and I was sleeping. So then she tells me like, why don't we trade seats so that like, so she doesn't have to keep waking me up. Excuse me, guys. So I end up trading seats with her, and then after we trade seats, I fall back asleep. And my brother, my sister, and my brother-in-law are on this bus, as you guys know, but they're not sitting with me because they're together as a group, so they're sitting with each other. So we're just all on the bus, and I'm sleeping, and then out of nowhere, I just start feeling like a heavy vibrate, like violent, like vibrating, and I'm like, what's happening here? But I don't want to pick my head up. Like, honestly, like, I'm like sleeping like with my head down, and I don't want to look up because I guess like, I don't know, I guess I didn't want to know what was happening. I just knew something was wrong. And then out of nowhere, like, the bus literally tips over like onto its side. And the way the bus was, if this is the bus standing up, I'm sitting on this side, so when it tips, it's almost like I'm on the ceiling now, and I just drop down and land, and a whole bunch of people like land on top of me and like all over my legs. There's like glass and blood everywhere. Sorry if this is a bit graphic, but that's what happened. And luckily my sister, she had a newborn, and somehow she was able to hold on to something, so she never fell with her baby. And when I turned over to look, there's the lady that was sitting next to me. The bus had actually, somehow her and two other people fell outside of broke through the bus window while it was tipping, and the bus, it slid a bit after it tipped, and they got stuck underneath the bus, like, if that even makes sense. So I will say from now, nobody died in the bus accident, thank God, but it was still very graphic, very violent. Like, after even like 2-3 minutes, not even that long, someone saw, and he did, like, a whole bunch of people start parking their cars on the highway, like literally on the middle of the highway. They just start parking their cars and running out and jumping into the bus to like pull us out. And like I guess it was adrenaline. There's a guy, he literally ran out like and like ran to like flag down like people on the side of the road. And then he realized after that happened that his leg was broken. Like, that's how much adrenaline was running through him. And even me the same way, like, I was just trying to help. And the lady who was sitting next to me, she was also caught underneath the bus, which so I was just holding her hand and just praying for her, and I couldn't even get words out. Like, I was just saying, like, mumbling things that didn't even really make sense, but I was just doing my best to just pray for her, because I was just like, I've never been through a situation like that. And as you guys know, there's a hatch at the top of a bus for emergency exit, and because the bus was on its side, now the hatch is just like accessible through the side. And the guy who ran out with the broken leg, he came around and with someone else that stopped their car, and they opened up the hatch, and we were all just like pulled out of there one by one. As I'm sitting down, ambulance is checking me out and stuff. I start feeling like immense pain. I guess like adrenaline's wearing off, and my whole back and my legs, like they're like violently in pain. Like I feel like I can't even walk. And we end up going to the hospital. They check my spine, it's okay. They check they check your whole body out. Everything's fine, but I don't feel fine. Like my body is just hurting, and they're saying it's probably muscle pain and stuff, blah blah. And I was already in those previous accidents, if you guys didn't remember. So I already had pre-existing injuries, and then injuries on top of injuries, and it was becoming like a whole thing, especially legally. Like if you guys know with insurance and stuff, it is, if you've ever been to a car accident, it's extremely difficult to get any insurance payouts at all. They just try to pay you the bare minimum and then send you on your way. And if you are injured, you're not going to be working or anything like that. It's difficult to get onto disability even with those things if you can't literally prove things. Like maybe if I had a literal broken spine, I could probably get disability easily, but because there was no clear injury, I wasn't able to do those things. So my income was low. I was dealing with the injuries I had to face. I couldn't do any work. As I was saying, I was on a farm. I couldn't do any work or anything, and my life was literally becoming like just me like sleeping in bed like half the time, and I was just becoming extremely depressed. And honestly, if you guys know, if you're ever in like a dark place, it is never a good idea to just be alone all the time, because you just basically bring yourself into darker places. You keep thinking bad things, and eventually you just keep going like deeper down the rabbit hole. And eventually I just got extremely depressed, and I felt so guilty, especially about the woman who traded seats with me. I would always think to myself that maybe it was me that deserved to be underneath the bus instead of her, and it would just always eat away at me. At this time I didn't know if she was okay or not, because none of us knew each other, right? There was no way to get confirmation of anything. Anyone who was there at that site, like I've never seen them ever again. But eventually I just found out through insurance, like with the insurance thing that happened, because it was a huge case that happened, and a lawyer pretty much took over almost everyone that was on the bus. So because of that, I found out that way that there was no like fatalities or anything like that. But it started really eating away at me, like guilt wise. I had no idea how this woman was doing, and I was just always thinking to myself like it was me who deserved to be in that spot. If only I wasn't sleeping, she wouldn't have had to feel the need to trade places with me. So basically, besides the regular physiotherapy and stuff that I was doing, I started actually going to therapy, like for depression and anxiety. If I had to get into a car, or if I had to go to an appointment for something, even when I was going to physiotherapy appointments, I'd be very anxious. Like I never wanted to be anywhere where I had to drive, and I just wasn't willing to even learn to drive myself, because at that time I wasn't driving. And for that reason I was like, maybe I should go get some help for this. And I did go, and it did help me a bit. I won't say that it was like super I wouldn't say it completely changed my situation, but it did help a lot to be able to talk about these things, because there was a lot of things that I would just keep to myself. And even the people around me that were there, I wouldn't say they weren't concerned. They would ask me things sometimes, but you know, like when you're sometimes in situations, you'll just shrug things off and you'll say, oh no, I'm fine, I'm okay. And eventually when they see that you're always that way, it's almost like just a common thing that you're always like kind of down and stuff, and that's just how like that person is. That's things you'll tell yourself. But it did help to actually speak about these things and talk about these things. I'm not even eating, guys. Sorry if I'm talking too much. So fast forward, I'm done physio and stuff. I'm getting my life back on track. and it's becoming hard to even find jobs and stuff. Every place I go, they want to ask me what have I been doing for like the past 3 years, and because I was in multiple accidents, I wasn't working, so it just always looked like, I don't know, like I had no experience. And every job wants experience nowadays, so it's becoming extremely difficult. I think by this time I'm probably like mid-20s, 23, 24. So it was becoming very difficult to find any job, and even that was like financially I was just not stable at all, and I was staying with family, so it was just very difficult to be able to do anything. If any of you have ever been depressed before, you'll know that almost anything could trigger like just mood swings and stuff like that. Like, so just always not having money, it started just really taking a toll on me. But eventually I was able to get a job, and when I finally did, I went back and I re-aggravated an injury that I had, and I had to come off of work again. So it was just becoming a cycle of me just being constantly depressed, and it was very difficult. Fast forward, I did end up going to college eventually, and college, it did help a lot to get out there and be in an environment. With college, I didn't need to be physical in any way, so that helped injury wise for my body to get back into shape. I didn't have to worry about doing any kind of, because I always usually do labor jobs, so I didn't have to worry about anything heavy lifting or anything like that. I ended up getting some work, and I was able to do it, and it wasn't hard for me, and now I'm perfectly healthy, which is just a blessing in itself. Eventually, when my son was being born, I decided to take that step, and I went and I got my driver's license, which was a huge accomplishment for me. A lot of people like that's not really a big deal, but for me, being through that, it was a big accomplishment for actually being able to learn how to drive. I actually went to driving school. I wasn't comfortable, just I did already know how to drive, but because of what happened, I just felt more comfortable going to someone who would be able to be there. Like, if you've ever been to driving school, they have their own brake that they could hit, so I was more comfortable in that situation where if anything were to happen, someone could stop me. And I flew through that, and I passed my driving test, and I got my license. Before my son was born, I was able to drive him home from the hospital, which was another big thing for me. Really felt good to be able to do that. So if any of you are watching and you are struggling with depression or anxiety or any of those things, just know that there is always going to be hard times, but if you can even do your best to just try to always find a reason to get up in the morning and just do anything. A lot of with depression for me personally, it was the fact that I was doing nothing that would always keep me in depression. And when I finally decided to myself, like, even if I wasn't gonna go work, if I said, you know what, today I'm gonna go on a long walk or anything like that, those things made it like a better day for me. Like, I was just better off mood wise. And there is always going to be hard times for everyone. Everyone goes through hard times, but just know that there are good times too. Not every day is gonna be a bad day. If any of you are going through anything hard, I pray that you guys do get out of whatever it is that you're facing, and that you come out stronger for it. I feel like I came out a lot stronger after all the things I've been through, and it was very difficult. I won't say that wasn't. Even outside of those things that I said in this story time, there was a lot of things that I was facing. They even offered me depression pills one time, and I didn't want to go down that route, and I ended up opting out of doing that, and I'm thankful that I didn't. But there are people who do take that, and it does help them. And anyone who does have to deal with anything like that, I do pray that you do find something that does make you happy, something that does give you a reason to wake up in the morning, something that gives you the reason to push you forward, to want to get out of that, because that, I think, is the most important thing when it comes to any type of mental illness, that if you want to be better, you'll find ways to be better, and you'll do what you need to do, whether it's therapy, whether it's talking to someone, whether it's researching on what it is that you're going through to try to find answers for yourself. But once you're just willing to accept that that's how it is, it's almost always going to be that way. So I do want to, hopefully this video does encourage you, and I do want to be able to encourage you with this video. I don't want this video to be taken as a sad or depressing video, because that's not what it's supposed to be. I want to be able to encourage you guys, to let you know that anything is possible, and if you guys are in a bad situation now, it doesn't always have to be that way. I'm gonna try to finish this. I've been rambling for a while now, and then that's gonna be it for the video. Yeah, I think I'm honestly full anyway. All right, done. I'll drink some water. That's gonna be it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed. I didn't want this to be any depressing or sad or down video, but if it did turn out that way, I'm sorry. I did want this to be encouraging for anyone who's going through it, that you know that this doesn't have to be the life that you live for the rest of your life. But that's gonna be it. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Don't forget to hit notification bell, become part of the Munch Gang. Check out my merch. I have some merch if you guys want to do that to help support the channel. And we're all different, but we all love good food. I hope you guys enjoy, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.